Hi friends, welcome to this short series on standard motifs of Muda, which is a system of movements that we do that allows us to play frame drums and do vocal toning, wordless singing, and just be very creative and loose. And if we've got other people, we listen to them, we watch them. How we move might be related to what we have seen, and what we sing in vocal toning relates to what we hear. So it's very conversational. And we have to begin with some movements to study Muda. So we're only going to do a few simple things in this short video. This one right here we call Spongy Grass and Mud. And you get your heels off the ground, and the vertical axis is the big deal. Right on top of my head, from above my head, right down through the center of my body, right down to the center of the earth, is this laser beam, this very straight line. It's like a flagpole of a pipe. It's strong. It's not going to wave around and bend. It's the vertical axis. Now I can slow down my steps. And I will come to step, tap. Spongy grass, step, tap. Tap means just my toes are on the ground. 90% of my weight is on one leg. Now, if you don't have a frame drum, hold a coffee cup. Hold a can of, anything. It's nice to have something to hold, because then you've got an anchor point. And someday you might have a frame drum, and even if you don't play the frame drum, it's fun. You're going to discover to do this with other people. The visual part of connecting the different frame drums is a lot of fun. Now, spongy grass, it's almost like running in place. I can go kind of fast. This is designed to loosen up my posture. I'm going to carefully slow it down. You can just do this with me. I'm going to try to go slow enough that you can just copy me. We call this mirroring. Spongy grass and mud. Knees are loose. Your hips are very loose. Feel your chest. Hold your elbows out a little higher. Get your head floating on top of your neck. There's a lot to do. You examine your body. And you continue to examine. Wait, I have to roll my hips back a little bit. Slow it down. And I'm going to come to step, tap. Now, the vertical axis is what we're trying to tune into and get prepared. Spongy grass and mud. And now what I'm going to do is a little bit different. I'm going to set up the horse pose. I'm going to go to throw my drum to one side, and I step on the outside of my foot, and then I throw the drum to the other side and step on the outside of the other foot, and then third movement, I push the drum out just a bit and squat just a bit. My head is still up high. I'm not bent over. I'm not looking down. Sometimes it helps to imagine you have a big beach ball on top of your head and you're balancing it. Like those folks in Africa and places put water and laundry on top of their head. You can imagine this. Okay? Now, to get out of this, I'm just going to shift my weight and start to do spongy grass and mud. And loosen up, but try to keep the flagpole not wobbling all around. Now, I want that flagpole to be as still as possible, even though my body is loose and jelly-like. Now I'm going to slow down and go 2-step tap. So, I'm going to, here's a new motif. I'm going to lift the drum up just a little bit, my elbows come up, lift the foot off the ground just a bit, and then step down, step tap. We call this 1-step tap. I lift up, it's like there's puppet strings on my elbows and my drum and on one of my knees, and I lift up and then push the drum down. Imagine that you're pushing a ball underwater. There's some resistance there. And now, 1-step tap, I lift up just a bit, lift up the knee, push the drum down, push the ball underneath the surface of the water, and keep holding it there. Now, I'll go back to Spongy Grass and Mud. And I'm going to end, I'm going to slow down and go to step tap, and go to 1-step tap. Lift just a bit, step tap. This will all relate to inhaling and exhaling the breath. When I lift up, I'm inhaling. When I push down, so hiss out your teeth as we do this. 1-step tap, lift up, inhale. Spongy Grass and Mud, flagpole. I'm going to slow down, step, tap. If I don't want to stand on that leg for too long, I do a 1-step tap to just shift to the other leg. Boom, boom. It can happen really quickly if you want it to. Now we're going to do a 3-step tap. This means it's going to take longer. So first, I'm going to lift my elbows up more. Up, and then the knee comes up, and then step, 2, 3, tap. 3-step tap. I'm going to lift my arms up higher, lift the knee up. Inhale as you lift up. Now you're mirroring me, and ultimately when you do this by yourself, your breath is what you follow. Your breath leads the movements. This is critical. This is very important. The breath directs all of these Chi Muda movements when you're not singing or as you're singing. To lift up like this, it's almost like inviting my rib cage to open up and loosen up so that I can inhale and exhale nicer. Okay, 1-step tap. You can tell, even if I'm not talking to you, if I lift up just a bit, that's a 1-step tap. If I lift up higher, that's going to be a 3-step tap. So see if you can anticipate what I'm going to do. Check your flagpole. In the future, we'll be able to do leg stands. You can stay on one foot a little bit longer. But for this video, we're just going to review what we've done. Spongy Grass and Mud in that flagpole. very nice horizontal posture. You're looking out across the ocean. You're looking out in the distance. You're not looking down. You are looking off into the distance. We call this splatter vision. You see everything in the room at the same time. I'm going to slow it down. You can imagine that you're holding that beach ball on top of your head. And step tap. Now, I'm going to do the horse pose. Throw the drum. Throw the drum. Now I'm standing on the outside of my 2 feet, not too wide. And then 3. I push the drum out a little bit. And it's like I'm riding on a little horse. This is allowing me to stretch my lower back for a moment. Roll the hips back. And then to come out of it, I pull the drum in. And I could go to step tap, or I could go to Spongy Grass and Mud. And I can slow down my steps, and I'm going to set it up and step on the outside of my foot, step on the outside of the other foot, and then push forward and roll my hips back. And this is great on the lower back. We keep the lower back happy before it becomes a problem. And then I stand up a little taller and Spongy Grass and Mud. With the horse pose, we bend the knees and squat down just a bit. I'm going to slow down and go to step tap. 1 step tap, lift a bit, lift the knees, step, tap. 3 step tap, up higher. And that is a nice introduction to these standard motifs. Rewind, listen again, watch, follow along with mirroring, and there's a lot of refinement that could happen here. So it is simple, but yet there's a lot. If you were to film yourself and watch yourself doing this, you might learn a lot about your posture. You might learn that you're not standing as tall as you might like to. And if you can stand tall, you've got a better attitude for the whole day. You'll breathe better. Your mind and your attitude will be better. Our life, is about looking down at screens and looking down because we've got all these authorities and all this stuff, and we hold ourselves like this, and now we become old, and now we're all bent over. Let us stand up. It's a physical thing, but it's a mental and emotional thing. Stand up. The ultimate goal of Chi Muda is to just walk with good posture. You're going to the store. You're walking across the room. Instead of, no, we float across the room because we've learned how to be aware of our feet and our shoulders and our head and our breathing and the whole thing. So anyway, when you're ready, let's go to the next video. But it's okay to watch this one several times before moving on.